the way to fall into this trap of committing zina starts long before you get anywhere near the action. So zina is not confined to just the action itself. The action of zina, or the act of intercourse, is simply a witness to whether you did or didn't fall for the trap. Whereas the steps before it include the eyes that see haram, the ears that listen to the haram, and the words that come out of your mouth, that either seduce or get you seduced into committing an act of zina. And as we said, the genitals will be the witness as to whether you actually fell for it or not. And one other dimension today, just to complicate things a bit more, is the comfort of our phones or social media or our inboxes or our Snapchat filters. And of course, there's a whole wide range of creative ways people have come up with to get close as possible to committing the act without actually committing the act. And of course, what essentially happens is you get so close that you just pretty much just jump that little hurdle and you jump right into it. So we know of texting, and if we swap the T for an S, you all know what I'm talking about. There's that goes on as well. All these weird, vile ways that people have come up with. Instead of putting our heads into something that's beneficial for humanity, people have come up with vile ways to corrupt our society. And moral corruption comes before physical corruption of a society. And one of the worst examples of this, and by the way, many of the ulama would consider that messaging, that chat between you and, for example, a woman or a guy on the other end, would consider that a khalwa. So a khalwa is like, we're supposed to avoid khalwa in a situation where a man and a woman are by themselves and there's no one as a witness or testimony there. But one of the worst and most vile ways that this has transpired is men going after married women. And of course, these people are the scum of the scum. And unfortunately, it's come into our own communities. I mean, for a long time, I wouldn't have ever fathomed that something like this would happen. But unfortunately, it's reached us and it needs to be addressed. So everything we said previously, if you're an individual and you do that, you're kind of only hurting yourself. But when you start going after people's honor, after people's ard, especially when it comes to married people, because there are stories, of course, of both men and women trying to do this. Like, it boggles the mind. Do you have no conscience? What on earth are you thinking? Would you be happy if that was your own mother, your own auntie, your own daughter, your own sister? Like, it's not a big leap from one point to the next. How on earth do we degenerate to the point where people are targeting married couples? Of course, it's easy because you don't have to face them in person today. You simply send the text message and hope for the best. But your sending of that text message is the mark of evil. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will punish you accordingly for that in this world before the next. And these things always come out. Otherwise, I wouldn't have known about it, to be honest. These stories, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala exposes these people in this world before the next. And it should be enough. The Prophet ﷺ says in a hadith, he is not from us who approaches a married woman. And of course it will apply to a woman approaching a married man. He is not from us. Because what happens in this case, the there's a specific word in Arabic used in this hadith. And the word means and leads to the meaning of destroying the person's relationship with their husband or their wife, destroying that person's family. And then when you start destroying the family and the inner workings of a family, you in turn are destroying society. At the end of the day, society is simply a series of families, a number of families put together, and we form a society. This can't be tolerated in any way, shape, or form. And I'm still, flabbergasted. I can't find a weirder word to use in terms of how this phenomenon even came about. But may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us and protect our honor and protect our kin and allow us to be steadfast on His path. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also says in the Quran, those who like for this obscenity to spread amongst the believers will have a severe punishment. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala hasn't declared what the punishment is here. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if He says it will be a severe punishment, you know it's going to hit you in this world and the next. And just to finish, the Prophet ﷺ says in a hadith, all of a Muslim is forbidden from another Muslim. His wealth, his blood, and his honor. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us of those who protect ourselves, protect our kin, protect our honor, and protect other Muslims' kin, honor, and their lives. Wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. So just a couple reminders before we begin with the dua. So, of course, this beautiful masjid, as you see it, didn't come about by itself and it doesn't run itself. So we ask that you donate generously after the prayer, and whatever you give in this world, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't forget it and will give you multiple times over. With regards to members of Newport Islamic Society, there's been a rush of late to try and keep everyone's details updated. So if it's been a while since you've updated your details, there's a form just here. Fill in the form, make sure your details are up to date, and then they'll reconcile the information with the database they've got. And last but not least, I think registrations for Newport Storm Football Club, the soccer club, are still open. I think they're still taking members. There's information on the posters outside. Let's all put our hands up in dua. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد في الأولين وصل على سيدنا محمد في الآخرين وصل على سيدنا محمد في الملأ الأعلى إلى يوم الدين. اللهم ارزقنا شفاعته وأوردنا حوضه واسقنا من يده الشريفة شربة هنيئة لا نظمأ بعدها أبدا يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم كن مع إخواننا المستضعفين في كل مكان. اللهم كن معهم ولا تكن عليهم. ثبتهم وسدد رميهم وكن لهم عونا ونصيرا يا رب العالمين. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. وأنت يا أخي أقم الصلاة. دائما أبدا مستديما لا إله إلا الله محمد رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. Fill in the gaps, make sure the lines are even, everyone's on par with each other. استقيموا واعتدلوا يرحمني ويرحمكم الله. الله أكبر.